Alright, I want to do a quick video on how to make a neck resetting jig to remove the neck. I start with a piece of 16 inch long by 4 inch wide, 3/4 inch piece of almost Baltic birch. It's got a few voids in it, but it's still a lot stronger. It's birch veneer plywood. I don't really care about the birch veneer, but I do care about the fact that the plywood is almost voidless. It is quite strong. It's about 8 or 11 layers thick. So this is lined with cork to protect the bottom, and it is wide enough to accept the waist of the guitar. You want these to be covered. I'm going to eventually cover these with either surgical tubing or something like the hose that I use for fuel line hose or something like that. These are 5/16 inch. I got a 36 inch piece of rod, and I basically cut it into 9.5 for this and 8.5 for this end of the of it. So the main structure here is going to be a this is the template that goes on the top. Again, it's got 5/16 inch holes here. This is 13 inches deep. It's got a 6 inch by 3 inch wide space for the fretboard, and I've cut a little bit for the jig because I found when I originally had it, it wouldn't pull back far enough. So in order to allow it space to move back and forth, I've cut this for the bridge. This will thread on here like this onto this jig. So this is 5/16 inch threaded rod. As I said, I bought a 36 inch piece from our local Princess Auto, and then I can back that up into there. So this part of the jig is basically cork lined. It's going to go in from the bottom, so I had these holes originally at 3/8 instead of 5/16, and there was just too much play. So what would happen is that this could move back and forth too much, and particularly in this part of the jig, you definitely do not want that to be able to happen, because this long piece will slide off of the butt of the neck, so down to the bottom of the heel. So I'm going to put this in here like this. I have a washer along the bottom here. I've got a wing nut at the bottom. These could be ordinary nuts, but I actually had a whole pile of wing nuts, so I figured I would start with them. Alright, so then with this in place, I can slide this up through these holes here. And then I can line this up with the bottom of the heel. That would put it about there. Then I've got a couple of other pieces that I'm going to go here and get and put on here. So this is just an additional piece to make sure that this is structurally going straight up and down like it needs to. So there's cork lining here. There's cork on the face side of this. This is backed up. Now I can straighten these in. I'm eventually going to get knobs for this. Instead of wing nuts, they'll be 5/16 inch by 18 plastic knobs. And I like these because this is where most of the force is, and then these things are disposable. I can replace them, but they also help keep everything fairly rigid. I think that these holes would be better off if they were a little bit closer or further out. There shouldn't be any problem with having them a little bit further out. Right now, these are fairly close to the bottom bout. It might work better in a dreadnought, but in this smaller guitar, it's pretty tight in here. It'll work, but it's still pretty tight. So there's tight there, there's tight there. That's cork lined. Not a lot of pressure on there at this point in time. And now we can thread on this. If I had to change anything on this, if I was sort of iffy, I would probably go to a 3/8 inch rather than 5/16 here, because you do definitely want this to be as straight and as rigid as possible. But that right there is putting pressure on the heel. Alright, so with that in mind, it's probably basically where you want it to be. Some people have a piece of steel here. I'm not really that fussy about that idea, because with the steel you can put a lot of pressure onto the bottom of the heel here, and you can crush it. I just want enough pressure that it's basically pushing on it. I don't really want it so tight that it's going to crush the heel. So I don't mind the idea of this piece being basically plywood, rather than good quality plywood, rather than a piece of steel. So that is actually putting pressure on it right now, and at this point in time I would be prepared to deal with adding steam or anything else. So that's basically how to build a simple and effective neck removal jig. I hope that helps somebody.